welcome to another episode of Who Gives a Hoot? I'm Luke. That's Kyle. John's off in Vegas, losing all of his money or something. You know,
hopefully not all.
I mean, if he loses all of his money, he'll come back to us. If he wins a whole bunch, he might not. So maybe we just hope he loses it all. His wife might not be happy, but that happens. So we have no goals to talk about this week, but we do have what ended up being a pretty flat draw. I can't say it was an exciting game.
I mean, honestly, we have two games of no goals to talk about.
Yeah, we do have two games of no goals to talk about. Open Cup was definitely an exciting one against El Paso, Dom's old team. Wednesday night, and I wish it had been done in 90 minutes because I had to work the next day.
It was a rough one in a lot of different ways.
Well, let's talk about how many shots we had that game.
So I believe I didn't look up this one. I believe we had 32 to their 12 or something like that, but only 6 were on target.
I want to say we had 32. And they had slightly less than 12 shots throughout the entirety of it. But the game plus extra time ended in a draw, which drove us to penalties. And
interesting set of penalty takers. I will say that. I mean, obviously, people are. It was a different looking team because we had subbed because it's such a long game. But who ended up taking penalties? I mean, you had Luca, you had a defender, you had someone like Pedro who you probably would think would do so.
Yeah,
you had Almish who hasn't played much, so getting on kind of the end of that El Paso game is really when he started to kind of show a little bit about what he can do.
For sure.
And then the winner, of course, too, with being Bronick, the 17-year-old.
The 17-year-old academy product. Winning the game against a higher division side in PKs at Werner Park in front of 800 fans or so.
But they were all behind the goal. Well, a lot of them were
behind the goal. The excitement of that kid, he scores the winning because Shido made a fantastic penalty save to put him into that position. Shido had a hell of a game there, keeping El Paso out of it. They didn't have a whole lot of shots.
He had a save in the first half on one of their counters that was crazy.
Yeah.
There was a missed penalty that they in the actual game that had been skied over the top. Shido had a lot of work to do still.
He had a nerve-wracking game for sure, and then coming up stone in the penalty shootout, making that massive save that pushed us on to our next round of the Open Cup, which we'll talk about a little bit here ahead, was just Shido's been with us since day one of 2020. Well, day one of us playing in 2020. He
was a little bit of a later addition, but
we had no goalkeeper going into our first preseason game, and he was announced as they were getting on the bus going to the airport. But
oh man,
he's won Golden Glove. He's been keeper of the year, and the way he's starting off this season, I personally think this is his best season to date. And that's what you hope to see.
Yeah, he has done great. In fact, oh shoot, I might need another column for this. But since for something that we're going to talk about soon with the Jägermeister Cup, but he has 96 league appearances for us, and he has this past El Paso game was his 10th Open Cup game for us. So he's hit double digits in the Open Cup,
which is massive. I mean, especially at this league, guys going up. Granted, he is an international goalkeeper, which makes it a little bit more difficult to move within the U.S. system. But he is a next level goalkeeper and has shown so much for this team, shown so much commitment to the growth of the game in Omaha. And his community outreach, back home through the game in Omaha has been massive.
The
captain, yes. He has taken that responsibility to heart, and we talked about that a bit in the off season, where we were kind of theorizing who would be the captain after losing a couple of the prime candidates, Connor Doyle especially. I know there was some hesitancy of having a goalkeeper captain, but to me, there really was no other choice, because Tito is this team. He's always been the passion. Like, he's had the passion behind him. He's had so much commitment to the growth of the game in Omaha, and just the way he's improved through various coaches, through various goalkeeper coaches, has been astronomical. That when he finally is able to make that next step, provided everything works in his favor, the sky's the limit for him. Every year he's had consistent growth, and he started as a good goalkeeper, but he's grown as the league has grown. His competition level has exceeded the growth in the league year over year, and he's putting in the work in the off season. So him coming up big in the game against El Paso and then against Charlotte over the weekend was not surprising to me, but a relief that we have such a solid solid commander in the back line, really.
Yeah, 100%. Like there is still a potential issue with having goalkeepers captain, which I think is what happened in Des Moines when he got the yellow card. Because there's no other way that he should have gotten a yellow card if you're the captain coming over to talk in that situation.
Yeah,
I feel like maybe the ref just forgot. I don't know, but
I mean, let's not talk about the reffing because that's an entirely different podcast.
Well, I mean, if we're transitioning into Charlotte, I will say the ref against Charlotte was pretty good.
Yeah,
there were a few missed calls, but solid. Yeah.
The roughing against El Paso,
there's definitely some issues, but Charlotte.
I'm trying to keep this a PG-13 podcast generally, like minimal cussing, and I cannot talk about the reffing in the El Paso game without breaking that general rule, because complete fucking dog shit, horrible reffing, and questionable to the health of the players.
There are definitely issues. I mean, there was some miscommunications. Even that was some of the weirder bits where it was like communicated that
putting it too lightly.
Where you say that someone got a second yellow card, but that's fine. That was just really confusing. That's what was communicated. So. There was some odd stuff in that one for sure.
Yeah. As I said, we could go into a full-on ref rant there, but let's move on.
Let's talk about.
I mean, Bronick got that amazing goal. His passion, though, in scoring that, there's so many videos circulating over social media to, like, just his celebrating the club.
Yes, too. That was what his celebration was. Yeah,
like he was not just I got the goal. It was the club got the goal, and the club moved on. And as a 17-year-old getting that massive moment, his family, the club, everybody fully behind him is just huge moment. Thrilled for him, thrilled for his future.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was a little surprised getting to the Charlotte game that we didn't see him sub on toward the end of the Charlotte game. I was expecting that.
I think Dom was really trying to do team management there. Would have liked to have seen a goal against Charlotte, but considering the congested schedule ahead and everything, I think there was a lot of management not trying to overplay the depth, not trying to, and Charlotte is a quality squad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They may not be drawing the fans that the rest of the league can, but they are a quality squad. They are one of the teams to beat this year. They obviously it was a bit of a grudge match considering their knockout of us in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, the last game we played against them was on that field, and it was a 0-0 draw. It's just that afterwards, other stuff happened.
That one went to penalties, and a man who did not feature for us that game had an unfortunate miss that caused some issues. And I would have loved to have seen Steven healthy and able to feature.
Especially with how involved in the goals he's been this year.
And I think that's definitely worth talking about, because we had 2 games in a row where he was out with an injury and were unable to put a goal in. And not saying he's our only goal scorer, because shown he's not, but he's that presence that requires the marking. He's that number 9 that we need out there to draw players off. So our other players.
He's had assists. He's had multiple assists this season already. He's just great in all facets of that attacking front for us.
No, he is that player for us that we hoped he'd been last year, and I think he's really come into his own here. If you haven't read our blog, Tim Howerton, contributor for 2024, has a great post-game interview, but also his extra time article where he got some questions off to Dominic Asciato, head coach of Union Omaha, and specifically addresses some of the missing players there, including Dos Santos, where they're going to be back in training this week, able to feature for us in the next round, hopefully, provided no further injuries.
Because it is going to be a lot. It's going to be at 4 games in 11 days. So
we need the depth. We need everybody healthy. Rest the guys that need rest. Slow work in the guys that are coming back from injury. Like we need that depth. The Jägermeister Cup. What are they calling it? Shot at Glory or something like that.
Is that really what the branding is?
Leaning into the boozing, which fits for 3rd division U.S. soccer.
I mean it's going to be an interesting thing. Which I don't know. Do we want to talk a little bit about the Jägermeister, since that's our next game on Wednesday, May 1st?
I think we need to. as much as the 0-0 draw against Charlotte was lively in some ways, it was also a very flat game. I felt both are coming off cup wins, tired.
Penalty cup wins as well. So we played a lot that week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oof.
Like, the game felt flat against Charlotte. And I don't think it was a fault of the players, but there wasn't the urgency I've seen with this squad so far this year. So
yeah,
I guess to the Jäger.
I guess before we get on to the Jäger Cup, I will just say we are currently 4th with 3 games played. I feel like that says something more about the rest of the league than it says purely about us at this point yet. But yeah, we're going to sit on that for the next game before we end up getting back into league play. So,
yeah. And the Jägermeister Cup, is BS as it is, adding to schedule congestion. We're not the MLS, so we're not whining about it too much. But these made up tournaments within a schedule where it's your own against your own league, like just play the league.
I mean, and again, it's a thing we've talked about before, but if this does lead to a USL Cup where you have USL 1 and USL Championship teams play, that's fine. This first year, it's going to be a bit weird. It's going to be a bit annoying. It's just something a bit extra.
I just hope the cup for this one is actually a cup and not a trophy.
Well, with Jägermeister, it should be, right?
I mean, it should be. I mean, obviously, it should be a shot ski.
Yeah. It should just be like a shot glass. Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe an ice glass. Like you gotta hoist it up, drink out of it before it melts. It's not something of that nature. But going into the Jägermeister Cup, we should have a solid squad, but I don't know how seriously we should take it. It's additional hardware, but when you've got a potential deep Open Cup run upcoming the following week, game on the weekend, and then game the weekend after your Open Cup, you just do you play the kids? Do you just rest?
The weird thing is, I'm almost thinking you play a full strength lineup, because then the thought is you rotate for your next league game and then play your full strength against SKC and then rotate for the other league game. But I understand why you might not want to do that. I am curious if we will see Lapsley for the cup game, though.
Jägermeister Cup or the Open Cup?
Jägermeister Cup, sorry. It's confusing. There's too many now.
Too many cups. I mean, one league, 2 cups.
Yeah. For the Jäger Cup game. That's what I'm curious if we'll see Lapsley there. Because I can see Shido playing 3 games in a week. I think 4 games is maybe a little much, so that's where I might see some rotation. Unless maybe like Tormenta.
Who do you put with the armband?
If you're playing Pedro, maybe Pedro. Otherwise,
If Dos Santos is healthy?
Yeah, Dos Santos was another one I was thinking.
I think our back line will stay steady, so I could almost see Luca or Marco.
Well, I mean, I understand the thought of them. I'm almost wondering if you have Jerome, though, just because he is so much more experienced, even if he's newer to the club. And like Norte's been a captain at NOCO before, so I could see doing that too. I think there's a few different options.
I'd see, although Dom's not afraid to, mix things up. If Dion's out there, I definitely see him wearing the armband.
That's true.
But I'd almost rather see, Luca or Marco, just with the impacts they've been making, because I think Luca had an exceptional game against Charlotte. Marco made team of the week. Rashid was up for goal or save of the week, but Luca to me is making all of the right steps as a central defender to really command the field. And I think giving him the captain's armband if Shido's not on the field would be a fair step.
Mm-hmm. You could see that. I think it'll be interesting. Like I said, I could maybe see that change happening.
Yeah.
But I am curious because again, how much do you want to go full strength in your weekend games on either side of this cup game?
True.
I don't know.
And as we talked about it, we have the depth in defense. I mean,
if they're all healthy, right? Because Malone wasn't healthy, but if he's healthy, I think we have a lot better depth.
For Tim's article reporting quotes from Dom, Malone should be back in. Bronick being out there, we've got options.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously Marco, Luca, Jerome, but you've got Dion. Like we have a full swap in defense. Putting them in the cup game, it's not single elimination at this point.
No, it's in fact very weird. As
what
draws
USL League One?
Yeah, draws go to shootouts, and so it's almost hockey style. Yeah, no extra time. It's almost hockey style, isn't it?
It's MLS Next style, which is why I hate it.
Oh God, where you get an extra point if you win the shootout?
I mean, I don't know if you get the extra point, but it's still
still stupid. It's still stupid. Yeah. Because they say similar to a traditional World Cup style format, but then hey, we're going to make these two massive changes where goals scored is the tiebreaker for anything, even over points, and regular time goes to shootouts. Like,
it's the US sometimes. It gives added home games for the teams. It's an additional game at Werner Park, which will be nice, but I think we gotta talk about it, and this is far out. The next Open Cup match will be in Omaha proper, not Papillion.
It will be
at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, your employer.
Yes.
Against a first division side. And
the first time we're playing a first division side at home.
Correct. The last time we faced this first division side was in 22. And we went down to Kansas City and got our asses fucking handed to us.
I mean, after Shido had maybe some of the best saves in a 20-minute span that you can ever think of.
I mean, I remember that game and Sporting fans coming up to me and being like, who the hell is your keeper? Because he's amazing. Mm-hmm. And he had, a fantastic game there. really got let down by plays in the outer field.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that worries me is out of the MLS, Sporting has always been a team that takes the Open Cup seriously.
I'd say Seattle's probably the only one who does more so.
Seattle and Philadelphia, I think, would be two that would do similar level. But Sporting is not afraid, or at least historically not afraid to play their first team against a lower division side to ensure a win.
Now, it is interesting, though, because they do have games on either weekend, like we do in that sense.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least some rotation. Against Minnesota United, when we played them 2 years ago, we kind of saw like a half-rotated team where it was like 6 or 7 of their starters and then some of their subs.
Yeah, they only threw one DP out, designated player out against us to start, but then subbed on a couple others.
Mm-hmm. So I think I almost see more of that strategy, but we'll see.
But to the point there, without talking too much about it, because we'll get closer to that game. We got to see how. If you haven't bought your tickets, buy your tickets. It is close.
They might be gone already. Yeah, they might be gone already.
Definitely a game to be there. Wear your black Volt, lavender,
not blue.
Do not wear blue for that game, because while you may support Sporting in the MLS, this is Omaha. Support your local team. Support local soccer. Hashtag ProRel for USA.
Yeah, and especially I hope everything will be. I'm a little worried because I've already seen some talk of people like, it's just kind of a GA section, so buying seats, just bleacher seats wherever. That it's going to be like a lot of mixed fans, which, if you recall, our last time we played Sporting, there were some issues after, so hopefully we don't have any of those this time.
I remember being up until 2 a.m. talking to Sporting security because of an incident.
I remember being there when it started.
You were.
I was.
I got some nice phone calls while I was trying to enjoy a couple of beers after the game, and then having to go resolve an issue because a Union Omaha supporter was assaulted.
So hopefully security side we're fine, and I hope that the club has that all figured out. I just know from the past experience that I still have that very much in my mind when thinking about this fixture.
I'm pretty sure you still have a ruined jersey from that.
I do. I do indeed.
So, but I don't think we're going to see that in the Jägermeister Cup game.
Thankfully, no. It's pups at the pitch. It's going to be fun.
Pups at the pitch. I unfortunately will be missing my first home game since I had COVID back in 22 or 21. I will be out of town at a conference, but it's going to be an exciting match, worth being out at. Bring your pup. I think they're offering, if you get some friends together, $10 tickets for a group. Bring your pup with. It's going to be a fantastic night. Weather's going to be good, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully the storm kind of passes through this weekend and it's fine by next week.
Yeah, and really just get out, support your local soccer. A lot of opportunities this season, but this is going to be one of the more fun ones.
Yeah, we got Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday coming up. All 3 times in a week. They're all home games. So
you got definitely 3 times in a week to go out, support local soccer. local professional soccer. And especially with the news that the Nebraska legislature approved $25 million over 20 years, tax incremental funding for the downtown stadium, which puts in just about half of what the actual stadium cost will be for Union Omaha getting a designated pitch for themselves, moving up to championship.
Women's team, academy, everything.
All that. $300 million complex. Terrible name. The Good Life District.
Oh, is it a Good Life District then?
It's the Good Life District.
I thought that was what the thing out in Gretna was, but
I mean, maybe.
Okay.
But in any event, we getting.
Hey, it's going to be right next to Iowa. If you go down the street like another block or so, it's going to be technically Iowa.
It is 10 minutes from my house. I'm not going to argue with it.
It's going to be a lot further for me.
Fair, but I don't care about you. I'm just.
Hey! But, I mean, my plan right now is park at UNO and hopefully with a combination of Orbit and maybe the streetcar if it's fine.
Yeah.
By then, be able to get down there easy. So we'll see.
Well, get out now, support the team. It shows the community that there are the fans behind the team to really warrant the investment that is needed to really build out soccer, and not just Union Omaha, but the broader soccer community in Nebraska.
Like the academy thing is a big one too. If they're actually able to start an official academy, that's being able to see more kids and give a chance to more kids to play professional and get that experience from a younger age is just such a big deal, right? Like there are some kids in the Omaha-Lincoln area who end up going down to KC to do that. But think about the wider net that can be cast once it's more local, right? And then maybe eventually you move up to some academy somewhere else or something, but like it gives you a good starting place.
Well, and having a second division pro team in Omaha, especially the way the USL Championship has been growing. I just read an article today talking about the 5 teams due to join USL League One next year. Most of them coming in with a 5,000, 6,000 seat stadium. Like soccer is growing at all levels in the U.S. And
the Super League just announced players for first players the other day. Like it's so growing big.
A competitive, I mean, the USL Super League, the competitive women's first tier USL Women's League, that will not be, is and isn't a direct competitor to the NWSL.
Yeah, is like on a different schedule, but is still, somewhat of a competitor.
It's a US first tier women's soccer league. So seeing the growth at all levels, there's a WPSL team that was announced for Nebraska recently. There's a UPSL team starting in Council Bluffs this year. Like there are some really massive levels of growth in just the metro, but across the country, you're seeing some huge growth there. So you're listening to this, which means you're already probably a diehard fan, or maybe you're just trying to pick up some stuff about our take on Open Cup. Get out, watch your local soccer team in Omaha, wherever you're at.
And encourage people, talk to people about it, because there's even stories recently of people being like, yeah, we just talked to this person. He knew about soccer, but didn't know that we have a team, right? Like
that's still spreading the word. Conversation.
Yeah.
5 seasons in, and it's almost a weekly conversation. You go out to a bar wearing Union Omaha gear. You go out somewhere wearing Union Omaha gear, and somebody asks, "Oh, what team is that?" And I mean, I feel like we've been doing our part to try and grow it. Might need some additional support from the team, but everybody can find a friend, go make a friend, bring them out to a game, show them what can happen. I'm always a big fan of trying to bring somebody new out, and you stay tuned to us before our next podcast, which will be prior to the Open Cup match versus Sporting Kansas City. We'll have some tickets to give away for that for people who have not been or people who are unable to purchase. So be sure to tune in on the next one. We'll give you some details on how to get those. But trying to think if there's anything we've missed. We haven't delved too deep in. As I mentioned, Tim Howerton wrote some great articles about the Charlotte match that cover a lot there.
Yeah, I guess should just also mention as we were talking about it. 6:30 Wednesday is the no-code game in the Jägermeister Cup, and then Saturday at 7 is against Tormenta. So the return of Connor Doyle at Werner. So those are kind of the two games this week before we look to the Open Cup.
Definitely both fun games. It's always fun to play against Tormenta. Northern Colorado, we've always got to, play a little bit of Weezer out there to really sink in on that sweater weather.
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's 80 degrees or 30 degrees. There's going to be a sweater.
All
right. As always, get out there, bring a friend to a game, go to the games yourselves. If you're not going to a game, watch the games, get those viewership numbers up. It's a massive time for soccer in Omaha, building up to getting that stadium to break ground. So support it in any way, shape, form you can. And I guess I just have one last question for you, Kyle.
Oh.
Who gives a hoot?
We do.